Hi Shane, thank you for joining me for this quick chat about accessibility. I thought we could talk a bit about your role at Nexa Digital, your relationship with technology, and also your own experiences of accessibility. So with that in mind, I think a good place to start would probably just to tell us a bit about yourself and your role. How does a typical day look for you?
I'm Shane. I've worked at Nexa for I think it's just over 4 years now. In terms of my role, so I'm a front-end developer. So that involves taking the designs from the designers and basically crafting them to make the user interface. And I also work closely with the back-end teams who will take my front-end code and integrate it into databases and CMSs and stuff like that. So I'm kind of caught in between and working with all the different teams to craft the front end.
And are there any particular tools that you would say not allow you to work, but definitely kind of facilitate your working? So if you're having a meeting or if you're sort of in the stages of working on a project, is there anything in particular that you would use to increase accessibility for you personally?
Yeah, so in terms of accessibility, so I'm deaf. So I've been deaf since I was around, it was diagnosed when I was a young boy at school, perhaps 8 years old. I was given hearing aids when I got to around 16 years of age, but I didn't wear them fully until perhaps mid-20s. So I'm now at a point where I'm at like the highest hearing aid that the NHS offers or that is available. So like after this, then the only really option for me is like a cochlear implant.
Right.
So I'd say in terms of like hearing, I'd say I'm maybe like 70-80% lip reading, and then perhaps 20 or 30% is hearing. So it just kind of accompanies someone's voice just to help me determine words and stuff like that. So in terms of technology, the biggest one that I use every single day and I'm completely dependent on is my hearing aids, which are from the NHS. And then in addition to that, so just before the pandemic, we've been using Microsoft Teams, and they introduced a feature where you could have captions at the bottom of the screen. And for someone like me, who was kind of worked my way up from like a junior to mid-level developer, the thing that I was always lacking was that I couldn't communicate on the telephone. So if there was ever a client meeting or any kind of client communication, it was very difficult for me over the telephone. So messages would have to be relayed and stuff like that. So the IT person at Nexa introduced me to something called Otter first, and later it came to Teams as well, is the fact that it would automatically caption words. And like for me, it was an absolute life changer because I went from not being able to participate in client meetings to now, like in the meeting that we're in now, I can literally communicate with anyone online from any place, which was, I must say, it's like completely transformed my life within the last couple of years with these features that have been brought into Teams. So I've got it on now. It just comes on the bottom of the screen and it automatically translates as we speak. It's pretty accurate. Like we do get a few dodgy translations. So we had like a Scottish lady, and she kept talking about chickens, and I say like, why does she keep talking about chickens? But it turned out she was actually saying check-ins. You
Right.
know, a day to tell it where they were. So that was quite a funny one. But generally speaking, it's really good and it's very, very useful to me. I also mentioned about Otter as well, which is very similar to Teams, but it's an independent translation application. So when I go to like a wedding, for example, I can open this app um, for a start, and depending on how far I'm away from the person, it will automatically translate it. So although I'm like 10, 20 meters away, I can actually hear what they're saying, which is really useful. And then like in my personal time, I watch like quite a lot of YouTube and stuff, so that's all automatically captioned now, which again is amazing because like small independent filmmakers wouldn't have the resource to create captions as big channels would. So the fact that YouTube now automatically translates all their videos is really, really useful for me personally as well. So I think they're the main ones.
That's a really good sort of example as to how something can be rolled out across multiple platforms and kind of make a really big difference. As you say, it's been really transformative for you. Wonder, with that in mind, if would you consider that maybe the biggest improvement that you'd like to see across other kinds of technology?
Yeah, I think, the technology is obviously there and it's available for everyone. And it seems like it's pretty seamless. It just needs the sound and it can translate the words. So yeah, if more independent, any kind of business could adopt that and integrate it into the product, it seems like pretty like a quick win.
Yeah.
I know people that aren't deaf that use the captions. Perhaps she's talking to a foreign person or someone who you can't quite understand. I feel it is a very useful addition. Yeah, it's something that hopefully isn't too difficult to implement.
So, from your side of things, your particular kind of work around accessibility, would you have a particular, say, case study or a project that you've worked on that you would use as a really key example of the way that accessibility and inclusion can be transformative? Is there something that kind of comes to mind?
Yeah, I guess I didn't have a case study as such, but I can give you like a really broad example of something that we try to integrate into all our products. So my job as a front end developer is obviously crafting the front end. So when you log on to a website, the thing that you're navigating through, the website that you're clicking on and typing into is something that I've crafted. So all of the things that we create here at Nexa, both me and all my team, as we ensure that everything works with, for example, someone who's using a screen reader. So someone might be blind, they're able to navigate through the website using a screen reader. So that we do that by default. That's like our base level. So that's what we try to integrate. Additionally, someone who is perhaps using a keyboard, so they might not have a mouse connected to the computer, and they should be able to navigate the whole way through every website that we create. There's also things like colors, just the structure of element, the structure of the markup, and lots of different array of technologies to ensure that anyone using a screen reader can access anything as well. So I'm trying to say that at a base level, like Nexa tries to integrate these technologies to ensure that anyone that is accessing any of our products or websites can access it.
And yeah, that I think feels like a really sort of good place to wrap things up. So yeah, I wanted to sort of thank you for taking the time to talk a bit about sort of both personally and professionally how you approach accessibility. And it's been really interesting. So thank you very much.
That's great. Thank you.